Close enough for 5 a.m. Steve Molesky, hope you're doing well this morning, my brother. Thoughts and prayers for you, Steve. Let's tell some of those up there. Can I get you out of YouTube jail? I wouldn't see it if she was in YouTube jail. Under deeming. If you were in YouTube, under deeming 7. Yeah, I will look at that, Diana, and find out what happened. You know what? Sometimes it's just a matter of if people are using touch screens as mods or even me. It's a little tougher for me to do it. But if you're using a touch screen and you're scrolling through, sometimes if you hit the wrong thing, and it's mistakes that happen all the time. But it's like I always tell the mods, when in doubt, err on that side. Because the people who are good people show up here and say, why am I blocked? Right? So it tends to work out. And I'll look into that, I promise you. In fact, let me write it down, because if I don't, I probably won't. No, you know what? I got it. In fact, yeah, I got it. Good morning, Tommy Bird. How are you? I'm glad that you're here. So let's get this thing this way. You know what I'm doing? You know what I'm doing? You're not going to like it. Turning off the comments. How's that? I know it's awful, right? Mods, do your jobs, because I'm going for a walk. No, I'm kidding, but I'm turning it off. I find myself sometimes drawn too much to the comment section. And if I've got things that I'm really trying to get across, then sometimes it's just a little bit too distracting to have all of you here. So I promise you the background noise will make a lot more sense if I'm not reading them all. So today we're talking about one of my favorite subjects on the planet when it goes well. When it doesn't go well, not so much. But sleep. This is, you can't do anything on the lifeboat. You can't do anything, whether it's drug addiction or anything else, where you talk about people's health and you don't bring up sleep. The absolute first, the first domino in one of those terrifying progressions that can literally take you out is sleep. Your physical health is absolutely dependent on how much sleep you get. I told everyone yesterday, if you happen to be here, that I've gotten back into a workout routine. I'm actually taking it pretty seriously. These are pretty good workouts, and I didn't think I was in good enough health for a really long time to do this, which is a bummer because it was such a huge part of my sobriety when I was incarcerated. I spent 3 hours a day, sometimes 4 hours a day, not counting a couple hours of walking. So, I did a lot of working out. And the beautiful thing about exercise is that it leads to sleeping, right? It really does. The more exercise you get, the more you will get yourself on a normal sleep routine. And I know, even without being able to read comments, that there are people right now saying, boy, I really wish I could work out. I promise you can, right? There are literally, 1 in a million where there's nothing that you can do. I don't care if it's finger raises, right? Baby steps of any kind, but start the process of physical exercise. Start the process of things that is going to make your body act normal. We sit around as, especially in our country, but we sit around in the modern world and in America, and we think to ourselves, I just don't understand why I can't get to sleep. I have vicious insomnia. Well, because maybe we weren't designed to sit in front of a computer screen for 8 hours a day. Right? That's not really how we're supposed to be designed. This crap emits a blue light. And normally I wear a pair of glasses that block it. They were a gift from a crew member from 7th. And without it, over a period of time, I get migraines. I really got to find the damn glasses because I'm hosed without them. But just the process of sitting for 8 hours, it's not how we were designed. It's not what we're intended to do. So we live a life that is so contrary to how we're designed as a creature. Technology just got absolutely insane. And all of these things that are designed to make life more simple, make sure you don't sleep. And if you're not sleeping, life isn't simple. If you're not sleeping, life sucks on every single angle. There's just nothing good that happens. But the first thing is your physical health. And then obviously your mental health. And when your mental health starts going, and it's obvious why, right? We talk about this all the damn time because you have two shifts of your brain. You have a night crew and you have a day crew. And it's essential that both of them get to do their job. You understand? We go through things during the course of the day that we think about and cope with. And then there's stuff that during the day we go, I'm going to put that away for later. It's a subconscious action that every single person on planet Earth does. Something comes up and you just table the motion, right? You're not going to think about this right now. I'm not going to worry about this right now. But whatever, I promise you, if you're not worrying about it right now, you're going to worry about it. You're going to pay for it. And you might do it while you're asleep, or you might do it the following day, right? If you do not get the sleep necessary for your subconscious to work through the things that you don't work through while you're awake, then you are in deep trouble. Plain and simple. The most important thing about sleep, right? We rest. And it's important that you rest the body, but it is damned important that you rest the mind. So all of the things that we talk about in our sobriety are always geared toward trying to help people do the most important things necessary in order to remain sober. And the most important thing necessary is going to be your physical health, bar none, above everything, right? Everybody says it. Boy, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And it's one of those things that people just say until you don't have your health, right? And everybody's gone through some degree of this in their life. I've had a couple of pretty heavy doses of this in my life, where your medical condition is dire, and you know what? Nothing else does matter, right? It affects every other aspect of your life. So let's start working toward this this concept that I'm going to make sure that I get 8 hours of sleep a day. If that can become a goal in your life that you can accomplish, and you know what, the payouts are insane, but just think about the stuff on the surface, right? The physical body loves sleep, absolutely loves it, right? When you get a good, I slept for the first time in probably 2 weeks or more. I got the first really ridiculous night's sleep that I've had in a very long time when I was on the road. And that, it was probably 10 or 11 hours, right? Which, I mean, some of you may be blessed and you do that a couple of times a week or a couple of times a month. I don't get 11 hours of sleep. Like, I just don't ever get 11 hours of sleep. It's not something that's much of a possibility. Now, there have been times in my life where I've been able to. There have been times in my life where I took my physical health, my mental health, and my sleep were more important to me than anything on earth. And you could do that behind the wall because I didn't have the lifeboat, right? I didn't have bills. I didn't have a house. I didn't have all of the things that, I didn't have a cat. I didn't have all of the things that become a part of your life. The new you kind of a thing for me is definitely different, right? I have a lot less time to concentrate on what is the most important thing. So I didn't start working out again because I would like a better physique. I didn't start working out again for any of the reasons that people normally associate with that kind of stuff, right? I didn't need to lose any more weight. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. What I want to be able to do is go to sleep. And it is the biggest issue in my life, hands down. And I'm working on it. And I'm making strides. The immune function. If you are not getting sleep, and depending on which study you want to read, because I was trying to get some good stuff that I could sort of back up with this, but there's a billion. I'm not kidding you. The number of sleep studies when you start going down that rabbit hole, but the number of sleep studies that have been done on immune function and sleep are insane, right? And I can make you a promise that if you're not sleeping, you're going to get sick. It's that simple. And it then becomes this cycle, right? You're not getting enough sleep, so you start feeling sick. And when you start feeling sick, you start tripping. And the more you start really getting in your own head, then the less you're going to be feeling healthy. The less you're feeling healthy, the chances are the less that you're going to sleep, the less that you're going to connect. All of the things that help keep us sober. So the more you look into this and the more you start peeling the onion, the more you realize that if you do not have your sleep, then you don't have anything. Right? If you don't have your health, you got nothing. If you don't have your sleep, you got nothing. Because if you don't have your sleep, you don't have your health. It needs to become something that you think about every single day. And you can Google it, and I'll go over a bunch of them before we're done today. But if you can start looking at the things that can be done proactively to actually increase your odds of getting some sleep, right? It's nice to talk about this stuff. It's huge. The emotional stability, the number one thing on the list. If you want to look up emotional stability, the first thing that they're gonna ask you as far as questions go is, how are you sleeping? For real, how are you sleeping? Because if you're not sleeping well, I promise you, your emotional stability gone, right? Again, every single thing in your life is a domino that is going to be hinging on whether or not you're going to get any sleep. This is Tammy C says, morning, I slept in. Yes. How great is that? Is that me beeping or you? I'm sorry, people. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
See that thing? You can't let Johnny in the room. Too damn popular. The Sesame Street and the Count taught me to count sheep. 1 sheep. Ah, 2 sheep. That is a method that people do. You do what? Something every once in a while. You know what I'm saying? Every once in a while. You're also going to lose productivity and performance. Now, this, honestly, as I was going through the list and doing this is one of those that I go, who cares? Honestly, I mean, it's fantastic to have an opportunity to, it's important to care about things like that. But I promise you, it's at the bottom of my list. And that's just the way it is. And I'm getting better at it because for probably a year or more, on my list of priorities, sleep went way below the lifeboat. And that's just going to kill the boat, and it's going to kill everything else. If you've been here for a really long time, there's been a real paradigm shift in the last month. Month and a half about my interaction. Squirrel, the myth, the pet. Yeah, my interaction. You all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Everything I do I is in one way or another. This is something that spends so much time right on the front of my brain that it's almost all encompassing. I am a person who eats not because they're hungry. I really struggle with this. I don't get really hungry very often. I don't get hungry, period, these days. I just don't. I have to force myself to eat. And if I don't force myself to eat, then everything else is going to start falling apart. I can't work out, right? And if I can't work out and I'm not eating, then I promise you I'm not sleeping. And these are things that we do to ourselves subconsciously. If you change how you live, then there's an excellent chance you're going to change how you sleep. And if you're trying to build a new you, if you're trying to launch the best version, the you 2.0, right? Or page 3 version of you, then this ought to be the first damn brick in the entire process. This should be what you concentrate on more than anything else, because without it, everything else goes to hell in a handbasket. So how do we start working on this concept of banking a little bit more sleep so that we feel a little bit better about who we are, right? And so that everything starts working in a better fashion toward the goal of them closing that pine box prior to you ever getting high or drunk again, right? That's the goal. So the first thing that we're going to do in this is we're going to work on setting up some kind of a consistent schedule. This is something that if you're not doing, then you're already behind the 8 ball before you even lay horizontally. Your body craves routine. Your mind does, so does your body. And setting up that structure and that routine that we talk about all the damn time, right? You get up, make the bed. First thing you do in the morning, it starts the routine. It starts the process. The more that you have routine, the less downtime that you have. The less downtime you have, the less likely you are to use, right? All of these things. Okay. scheduling when you're going to get in there and lay down and go to sleep is as important as anything that you're ever going to do. And you need to start trying to do it at the same time every night. As you know, as you've heard me say on here a million times, when I was in the life, I fell asleep after midnight. That was just par for the course. Sometime usually between 1 and 4. But it depended. And it depended on a handful of crap, how good the dope was, what we did to get the dope, you know, how much effort got put into it, if I'm exhausted or whatever, you know, all of those things kind of came into play. In the real world, I'm not living that way. I'm not living where I've got this massive window that I may fall asleep during or do whatever. I'm going to enter the bedroom and make that effort at the exact same time every single night. Does not necessarily mean I'm going to be successful at the same time. But the more that I exercise and the more that I make sure I'm getting 3 squares a day, and the more that I do the things that are so damn basic that we probably learned it in like the 4th grade, honestly, right? The food pyramid and all of those nice things. What was it, about 3rd or 4th grade, I think, is about the time that started, right? Keeping it real, that's just kind of how it is. So like so much else in life, this ought to be 101. This ought to be 101. This ought to be human being 101. This is the most basic thing of anything that makes us human. And yet we need to learn it at 53 here. I don't know where you're all at, but it's one of those things that, you know, we really are starting from scratch for so many people. Yeah. The number 2, start a relaxing bedtime routine. So as we start this rascal, hey, Greg, if you can get 5 hours of sleep a day and that's a routine and you get it every day, I promise you're probably doing fantastic. Not everybody's going to require 8. 8 would be fantastic. It would be great. I would love it. I would love 6. But if I could consistently get 5 every single night, I promise you, I would be tracking. I really would. That would just be spot on. But setting up a relaxing bedtime routine. One of the things that I did differently inside than I did outside is I read for 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, every day, right? Maybe more than that, but at a minimum, I read that every single day. That is a relaxing sleep time activity. And I don't mean reading stuff online. I don't mean using a Kindle, because the blue glow from the computer and from the screen or the phone or anything that you're doing, that blue, right, that I'm staring into currently, messes with your sleep cycle, right? Another thing that you can go deep dive on, and there's about 1 million studies that says this is not conducive to falling asleep. In fact, it's the exact friggin' opposite. What this kind of illumination does to the brain is designed to keep you awake. It really is. What it's going to do to you inside the dome may as well have been designed by engineers to make sure that you don't get a good night's sleep, because that is exactly what happens with it. So start that bedtime routine 3 hours before you go to sleep. Get this thing off. So you told me I like watching YouTube. Watch it on a television set. Believe it or not, it's a very big difference. It really is. Watch it on a TV. It is a very, very different. TVs do not emit that same blue light. And you know, I use a big TV monitor in this office, and then I use a computer screen in front of it. And to look at the two of them, it's night and day. It's a completely different thing. So about 3 hours before you're going to go and lay your head down, get all of that starting so that in the last hour, right, hour and a half, you're not going to be looking at anything that's going to be emitting a blue light of any kind. And you're going to start winding down. May I suggest that if you and your significant other get into very deep conversations about things, if you're communicators that really spend a lot of time communicating back and forth, maybe don't bring up the heavy stuff within a couple hours of going to bed. Because relaxing bedtime routines means shutting down the dome. Right? Starting that process is shutting down so that you're just doing that relaxed thing, right? If we start that process earlier, we have a much better chance of actually getting to sleep. Part of my relaxing bedtime wind down is journaling. And for me, This is one of the most important parts of journaling, because what I don't want to do, especially with my challenges with sleeping, what I really don't want to do is have to lay there in bed and go through what happened today on the lifeboat, who's angry about this, who thinks I'm an idiot. All of that stuff doesn't need to be on my frontal lobe prior to me shutting my eyes, for two reasons. Number one, if my brain is processing things as I'm laying down, I'm not going to get to friggin' sleep. And if I get to sleep, guess what's going to happen? All of that stuff that I should have put down on paper is going to be running rampant. That taking the time to put stuff down, does it mean you're not going to dream about it and not work through it? What it means is you've organized your head. You've taken your thoughts and you've put them into some kind of an order that makes sense enough for you to get it from dome to paper. You're given the night shift the best possible opportunity to get the job done so that when you wake up tomorrow morning, you're not an asshole. You have an opportunity to go out, go to work, act like a human being, treat everybody nice, and cope. Steve Molesky says, I'm just going to work today. I'm so tired, I can't even see straight. If you're not getting sleep, everything else is going to suffer in a huge way. So the limiting screen time can't be emphasized enough, especially as you get closer to actually laying down, right? Optimize your sleep environment. Optimize your sleep environment. What does that mean? Okay, I'll give you a great example. So, as I've said, behind the wall, I sleep really, really differently. And it's because I've got all day long to wear myself out, right, before I go to sleep. Also, if you're in a prison where the doors pop in the morning, right? If you're in a prison where people can actually have access to one another, right? Well, then at 9:30, you will have silence in a prison. When they lock the doors down, nobody makes a sound. Because in the morning, if you had kept somebody up, they're going to stab you. It's that serious. So when you're in the special management unit where you're locked down 24 hours a day, there's zero respect. Guys scream around the clock. They yell back and forth to each other. They kick doors because we can't hurt them. No one can hurt each other. You can't get at each other. But in the other places, that was perfect. There was going to be silence. There was no issue. So I remember doing a really long stretch in a place in Phoenix where I was in the segregated housing unit, which means I'm not getting at the guy next to me or across the hall, and noise was an issue. Guys would make noise around the clock, and that's a very difficult thing. So you get earplugs or you make them out of toilet paper or whatever. You do everything you can to block out as much noise as possible, because if you don't, you're in trouble. Now, when I got to Phoenix, I told the story a lot. I hit a cop. When I got put in the shoe in the segregated housing unit, it was cockroach hell. And I'm standing there. They kept me out. It took so long from the time that I hit this dude to the time that I actually got to lay down and go to bed. It was remarkable how long it took, the process. As I've said before, I spent hours kind of doing this thing in a little lockup cell. But by the time I got up to the room, I was exhausted. My body was just completely exhausted. And I looked at the cop because the light switch is on the other side of the door. So in the shoe, you can leave the light on all night, but you take a little sign that you stick out the door that says lights off or lights on, and the cop walking by will turn the lights on or off for you. So as I'm sitting there and I'm going in, I said to the cop, "Could you do me a favor and turn off the lights?" And I should have known that something was up, because the guy said to me, "You really want the lights off?" It's like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. I was like, "Yeah, I do." He said, "All right." And he turned off the lights and walked away. And I laid down on the floor. Within 5 seconds of laying down, a cockroach ran across my face. And I got back up and I realized that, I'm not kidding you, the lights went off and this room came alive. So I spent the next 14 months in that crap hole with the lights on. There was just not an option to turn the lights off. Those cockroaches really did not like light. So I could sleep in the bed or on the mattress on the floor, depending on what I was doing. But I could sleep without having to worry about these bugs crawling across me, providing I kept the lights on. Now, that's going to change how you sleep. I promise you. Even if you're getting the sleep that you need, it is completely different. So optimizing your environment for sleep means getting rid of sound, right? Cut down on sound as much as possible or control it. See, I don't do silence very well. So I don't want massive amounts of background noise unless that background noise is something that I control. So I do like black noise, pink noise, things like that. I will sleep the best ever if I've got that going on in the background. If I can control my environment, that's fantastic. And if it's really great, like when I was had both of my iPads working at the same time before I squirreled them, I used to put on one would be on black and one would be on pink, and I would have them on either side of the bed, sort of fighting each other. And I really do beautifully on that. That's something that greatly assists in my sleep. I also, in a perfect world, if you ever have slept in a room that has actual blackout in it, like if you've ever been in a room where when they black stuff out, the blackout curtains don't let in anything. My sister Scoville, the older sister of ours, had a house in Nevada, and it was huge. In her basement, she had what was designed, I believe, to be a wine cellar, right? But it was a room probably a little bit bigger than this office that didn't have a window, right? It's the only room in the house that didn't have some natural light that came in. And when you would shut that door and turn the light off, it was the darkest place on planet Earth. And it definitely changed how I slept. It was one of the first really eye-opening things for me in terms of just how much different a little bit of light shining on you is, right? When you really have it jet blacked out, you sleep a whole lot better. Make sure that you optimize the work environment, the sleep environment. Make sure that you've got a situation where you're comfortable as hell. If you are, you got a much better chance. And everything that we're doing, people, this is, for me, I honestly believe, as sad as it is, this is an all-encompassing thing for me in life. This is something that I spend more time thinking about than probably 80% of anything else that in my existence is sleep. If you're somebody who struggles with insomnia, don't start planning your sleep life 15 minutes before you go to bed every single night differently and be shocked when you don't get the results you're looking for. You have to absolutely think of this as a you versus it kind of a contest. And it's not for the week or the month, it's for the rest of your life. So getting a routine, optimizing your environment, setting up a schedule, and doing everything the same way, right? My night routine should, in theory, be just like my day routine, right? When I get up in the morning, I'm making the bed, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm doing all of these things that are getting me focused, journaling to get my day started with the best chance for success that I can possibly have. That's the second most important thing in my life, right? The most important thing in my life is the night before. I'm not going to be worth a crap in the morning if I am not sleeping. And if I'm not sleeping well. A fan works great. Yeah, a fan is absolutely fantastic. The ceiling fan in the new home is rhythmic. It's one of those things that's got a really great kind of what's this? Syncopation, like that syncopated cadence. Thank you. It's got this cadence that helps you just sort of melt back into it. Hey, while you're here, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Right? Make sure we get that thumbs up button hit. And what's the other one I'm supposed to say? The hits the subscribe button. Did I sound like a cheesy YouTuber? Please make sure you hit the subscribe button and then hit that bell for notification, because it really does help optimize the algorithm. You realize there's nobody on planet Earth that knows how to optimize an algorithm. The guy that wrote it doesn't know how to optimize an algorithm. I liked, can't remember which crew member said, I'm fairly convinced it's three monkeys in a basement with a bushel of bananas banging hard on a keyboard. And I don't know. I don't know that they could do any better or worse. Get the stuff you sleep on to be comfy, right? Maybe high tech even. So there are now probably 25 companies out there that make the world's best pillow. Everybody has designed the world's best pillow. Now they got pillows that are cool on the other side before you even have to deal with flipping it. Okay? The old cooler than the other side of your pillow line doesn't even work anymore. They've got stuff that both sides of the pillow are cooled, and they've got stuff that has been used in space and patented memory foams. You know what? Try out all of them. When you get to the federal prison system, you find out something on your second night there. They don't give out pillows. Period. You don't get them. Apparently, they think you'll smother the guy that you're in there living with. I mean, that's my only guess as to why you could not own a pillow in a federal prison system, but you can't have one. And I don't mean that they don't just supply them. I mean, you can't have one. When I was at Victorville, every single time there was a shakedown, I wasn't worried about a knife, right, or dope. I was worried about my pillow. I don't sleep real well without one. In fact, to be really honest with you, I don't sleep real well without three. I need, in theory, a body pillow would do it, but I need like a segmented body pillow. So I need one between my knees. I need one that I can kind of grab and hold on to. And I need one under my dome. That's optimized for me. Plain and simple. That's something that I absolutely need. And the mattress that I lay on. So for 13 years, I slept on a metal cookie sheet. I'm not kidding. Like the bed looks like a cookie tin. It's just a quarter inch of steel, right? And on top of that was a half an inch of padding. It starts out 3 inches, 4 inches high, but by the time you get it, it's usually about this big. And there's just nothing that you're going to do to make that better. Like there are guys who go out and spend money and buy 5 mattresses and stack them up and pay people to shred mattresses into small little bits and then stuff it into a different, you're going to get it confiscated the first time they come and do a shakedown, right? So you just get to a point where you realize that, you know what, this is what I'm working with. But insane as it sounds, I slept better in there than I do out here. So we can probably guess it's not the pillow in that instance, and it's probably not the mattress. For me, what it was I worked out enough to the point where my plan was that when they turned off the lights at night, I collapsed, right? I was so damn exhausted from the day that I had that my body, no matter what was going on with my mind, my body was going to shut down. That worked beautifully. Out here, I got a lot more going on. I got way more going on, which is a beautiful thing, right? I get to see my kids. I get to do all kinds of different things that I would never get to do in there that will change how you do everything you do. You know, that's the really funny thing is that's not even the first time that I've seen that done, right? As insane as that sounds, I'm not joking. That's the truth. Anything that you can think of that somebody can use as a way to go to sleep as a pillow, stuffing toilet paper into a laundry bag, just sleeping with rolls of toilet paper under your head, all of those different things. But since we're in the real world, right, get a really comfortable pillow and get a really comfortable mattress. Take 8 hours and go lay on every mattress on planet Earth, right? Every different style. Try the memory foam, try the one that sits you up like you're in a hospital. Man, check out all of that crap. Sleep numbers. Do what you do to find out what mattress just screams your name. So that when you lay on it, you're like, holy crap, this is what a mattress is supposed to be. You know, everybody's guilty of just kind of being stupid. Sorry, but we're all guilty of this in a really big way. For instance, I have gone out to buy automobiles where I probably spent 60 hours reading every single spec that you could possibly get on that car, right? I knew the foot-pounds of torque really doesn't mean a damn thing to me, but I could tell you what it was, right? I knew how fast it went through the cones test, all of those things. But I wouldn't take a tenth of that time to research a mattress, but I'm going to spend half my life on it. You're going to spend half your damn life on this mattress. Maybe go out and test drive that rascal. Huh? Put a little time into it. Oh my goodness. It's raining in Oregon. I'm sorry. I just want to laugh at that. I was there. I did time in Sheridan, Oregon. It rains every single day. Of course it's raining in Oregon. I'm not joking. I think it rained the entire time I was there. It's a crazy place that way. So really get a good look at what you eat before you go to bed. If you're not watching your diet, I promise you, you're hosed. Number one, don't eat before you go to bed, right? Don't do it. And I know that we sit on the couch and we're watching stuff on TV, or you're watching YouTube or whatever. And it's such a routine for so many people that it's going to grab a bag of chips, or they're going to. And I did this for a period of time in my life. I did this. And if I wanted to put on weight, if they told me that I had to put on weight for a film, like you hear actors do, I would eat like a Viking within 20 or 30 minutes of going to sleep. I promise you, if I was trying to put weight on, that I would do that. I would do that. And there are people who were such creatures of freaking habit. And I don't mean human beings. I'm talking about you, right? And me. We're drug addicts. We are so good at doing whatever makes our body feel good, right? We are going to go to that. So there are people who eat themselves to sleep. I promise you. I knew a guy in prison that did it. I watched him do it. And he could do it twice in a day and would often. But this guy would get a honey bun and put an inch of peanut butter on the top of it. Throw on M&Ms, chocolate syrup, right? A slice of banana, put all of this on the top and microwave this thing. And at the time I was on a prison that was, we didn't have, we had the ability to open and close windows, which is pretty rare in prison, but it's where we had bars and whatever, but you could open your windows. And in the winter, he would take these things and put them outside and they would like chill and get hard. But he would eat 2 of these. And in 25, 30 minutes, he'd be asleep and knock him out. But he would do it a couple of times a day. He also weighed about 400 pounds because he had found a routine that worked for him that helped get him to sleep. Not a particularly healthy routine, right? I was 2 cells down, doing a couple of 100 push-ups because it was going to do the same thing to me. It was going to knock me out. And you know what? People, pick a healthy way to try to get to sleep. For real, don't go the route of the easiest or the least resistance, because more often than not, it's not going to do you a hell of a lot of good. Obviously, staying active, right? And I mean throughout the day. If you are somebody who is stuck sitting in a chair all day long, ask your boss for a Veridesk. Ask your boss if you can stand up. I promise you would be happier after the fact. And if they say no, they're going to wonder if you're going to call the ACLU as soon as you're done talking to them. If you just say, I'm really starting to get a lot of back problems. And it's the truth, whether you realize it or not. If you're sitting in a damn chair for 8 hours a day, you're getting back problems. But stand up, walk around, do things. You realize that I could sit on the telephone and do calf raises all day long, right? I could be working out right now. I'm not kidding while I'm talking to you people, right? I'm sitting at a desk that has the little leg thing on the inside. I could be pushing as hard as I can, right, to the outside with the legs. There are so many different things that you can do to make sure that you are staying active. If you are able to walk, walk 25 minutes a day. You can do it inside. I know people say, you know what, I live in a really rough neighborhood. I lived in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, in a cell that was 20 feet, which, by the way, is the biggest cell in North America. But I had a cell that was corner to corner, almost 20 feet. Huge. It was because it used to be the mafia floor. So those cells were like a Hilton. They were so damn big. But I worked out how many times I had to walk back and forth in that cell to go a mile. And then I walked the same distance that it was from Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, to where I lived in Nevada. I'm not kidding. I would do 3 or 4 hours every single day at a fast clip going back and forth. And it would always help that sleep schedule. And during the day, you realize that working out is going to give you endorphins. It's going to give you all kinds of feel-good chemicals. It is going to get the reward center of your brain working. And if you don't think that is going to start to help with sleep, then you've never listened to anything I've said here. We're messed up because the reward center in our brain doesn't work. I don't know about you people, but I would cut this off to make the reward system of my brain work right. I would. There's not much that I would not do. Right? It seems like it should be pretty basic stuff. There's nothing I wouldn't do to ensure that I would sleep better every night. Nothing I wouldn't do, but I wouldn't work out. Right? Been out for a long time and just gave that up. So I started going, read back through journals. Start going back and flipping through journals. And I would come to things that just said, you know what? I've never slept better. I'm so glad I'm working out. Right? The workouts change how I sleep. I am 2 nights in a row without having one of those dreams that messes my sleep up so bad. Now, I'll chuck some of that up to the road trip. Right? That was, I disconnected from the lifeboat for 4 days. Because of how I couldn't even get a signal out of the hotel that I was in. I had to drive to a Starbucks to do a live feed. So I disconnected for days. So that may have had something to do with it. But in the last 2 days, I have slept without doing that, where you sit up in bed freaked out and the rest of the night is toast. Now, granted, you look back in the whole Occam's razor concept. Well, to me, the Occam's razor concept is that I'm working out right now again, and I'm doing it hard. Right. That's something that I think. Damn it! See, I almost blocked her. It's something that is really easy to do by accident. So. I do apologize that happens from time to time, but it is the nature of the business. That would be BID, of the business. Excuse me. So I don't know what number we're at. 8, 9, something like that. Who knows? But you see, and I read it, and then I manage stress. Obviously, one of the biggest killers in the world for sleep is stress. And you say, you know what? It's really hard. It's really hard for me to get that organized. It's hard for me to kind of get into a position where I can even, wrap my brain around trying to cut down on stress. And if you're in the middle of it, it's almost impossible to say, oh, you know what? I should probably be trying to back off a little bit on the stress that I have in my life, right? Perhaps I need to. But when you start to remove yourself from the friggin' chaos of being a drug addict, right? And you get just far enough out where you can actually start thinking about things like the amount of stress that I'm putting onto myself. I run the lifeboat. I get a lot of emails from people who say, I just lost my daughter or my son. These things add to stress. Doesn't mean that you have to give up these things. The lifeboat's too important to me to give up. In a perfect world, I probably wouldn't do the lifeboat, right? I mean, from a stress aspect, this thing causes stress. It also, for me, keeps me focused on my sobriety. It's a give and a take. I get a ton out of the lifeboat, but I definitely pay a little bit to do it. But I manage that. This is a stress worth managing. So I talk to professionals, right? I talk to professionals, people who do this stuff for a living, help me get organized and work through the thought processes necessary for me to be a healthy recovering addict and hopefully a decent peer support guy, right? But I manage the stress. I can't eliminate it. It's not a possibility. I've got 2 kids. There you go. You're going to, there are going to be things in life that are always going to bring you stresses. It's always going to be something that we deal with. And it is what it is, right? But if you take the time, and I appreciate that. This is a treatment of sorts, Ian. It absolutely is. I need more than this. But and I believe everybody does. I'll be really honest with you. In a perfect world, you talk to somebody who you can talk to and you can relate to, and maybe they talk like me, but they got like 16 initials after their names, and they're going to say some things like, you know what? I understand what you're going through, and I think this may be a chemical imbalance. I don't have that. That's not something I'm going to pull off. You understand? I'm not a doctor. I can't say things. And for some people, you realize it's that simple, right? It's the difference between this and that. It's this much of a little bit of a chemical hitch, and we're going to be able to take a prescription and fix that, right? I'm telling you, the first time that I took bupropion, Wellbutrin, the first time I took Wellbutrin, it did nothing because they gave it to me in a different format. But the first time I took the time-released version of that drug, where it takes 8 hours or whatever for the stuff to bleed out into your body. That Tuesday was so different than that Monday, right? That I honestly had to go back to the person that wrote me the prescription and just say, you got to be kidding. Like, I could have done this 2 years ago, and this could have just been, I'm journaling like hell. I'm working out. I'm talking to Q. I'm doing all of these things that are laser focused on being the best me that I could be. But boy, when I got the chemical thing going right in my brain, it got a hell of a lot easier. Instantly. I'm not joking. Instantly. I was 2 hours into taking that pill where I just went, holy hell. Where has this been my entire life? I read books of famous drug addicts. I don't know what this is. Maybe it had to do with the fact that people in prison order those books a lot. Because, and I've said this before, if I got 50 books that I've ordered off of the book catalogs and things like that, I'm not allowed to keep 50 books in my cell. It's not an option. So what happens is you buy these books and then you just go, screw it, and you throw them out into that's how the libraries in prison get built. Is by inmates who buy books and then leave them. It really is a huge part of the whole system for how everything gets in there. But I remember getting a book and reading this is what we fight most, right? As human beings, whether you're a drug addict or not, asking somebody to give you help, right? That moment of, I need assistance. Even if you're walking into a doctor, you're going to write the guy a friggin' check. He's not helping you. He's working for you, right? We still feel like there's just that barrier to say, man, I can't do this alone. I don't know what it is. It's like saying, hey, I'm weak. Hey, I can't handle this. Sorry, I'm not tough enough. I don't know. But there's something in our human makeup that does not want us to ever ask for help. Martha, I'm glad that you said this, believe it or not. I really am glad you said this. Says, I took Wellbutrin 30 years ago, maybe my heart race couldn't take it. Maybe I was allergic, or maybe it just wasn't the med for you. This is something that's huge too. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that I probably took 25 different medications before they tried me on Wellbutrin. And all of them did something I didn't like. It may, some of them were great for this or great, or not good for this. All of them had a side effect that was such a thing that I was like, I'm not taking this anymore until I got to the Wellbutrin. But I could have stopped at 19 or I could have stopped at 17. And if I did, I'd be journaling every morning, trying to peel to the layer of the onion that was going to help me when all I needed to do was swallow a pill that was going to level out the part of my brain that needed a little help. Annette, is Wellbutrin good? It's perfect for me. I don't know if it's good for you because everybody is different, right? Everybody is different. Allie Grimes says there is a blood test that tells you which antidepressant works best for you. I got an email from somebody that told me the same thing a while back. I can't back that up. I don't know if that's the truth or not. But if there is, fantastic, right? You know what? Shawshank Redemption is not a bad reference, except the libraries in prison look a lot more like a library at a like a junior college maybe, only shrunk, right? They actually try to make them look inviting as hell. They would like as many inmates as could possibly fit in there to go into the library. And it is always affectionately called the law library, because the vast majority of people in there are probably fighting their case. There are certain things that will absolutely send a guy into the library every single day. And if you think you have a chance of getting out of prison by filing papers, you will be in that library every single time they allow you in it. Still smoking and scared of quitting. Well, here's the good news. You're in the right place. Yes, Chantix is the same thing as Wellbutrin. It's just under a different manufacturer. So yeah, if you've tried Chantix, you've probably tried Wellbutrin, although they give it to you in a different amount. Right? I don't remember exactly what the amount milligram wise is, but it's the same drug. I never took it for that reason. I took it for as an antidepressant, and it's not an SSRI. It's something else. It is an unusual antidepressant in that it lives in a gray area kind of. It's not, and I'm not going to talk about it because I don't know enough. It's a gray area, but for me, it was a fantastic drug. For the next guy, Zoloft is a fantastic drug, right? Which is sertraline. For me, that drug was a nightmare. It's finding what is right for you. If there's a test for that, fan-freaking-tastic. If there's not, the second best way is to communicate with the person that writes your prescription for it. I had the people in psych in prison were a lot more interested in me than were the people that took care of the body. Those doctors didn't give a crap about anything, and I don't think that they wanted to be there. The people who went into the psych end of it were there because they wanted to be there. I promise you, it was a different, and you can see it instantly. They're there because they want to help people. And you don't even know the story. They maybe had a family member or whatever, but there's something that makes them want to be there, and they really, they really want to help. That's interesting. A low histamine diet. I'm going to have to work and read about this. I know nothing about the concept of I had no idea that there was a low histamine diet. How interesting. This is about to draw sarcastic eye rolls. Well, that's a good start for many, but I was a stupid redneck from the deep South raised with a family doctor and not much exposure to drugs. Broke my back in an offshore marine accident, and 30 years later, I was told I was a junkie. Nobody here's going to roll their eyes at that, Jonesy. You're in the right place. There's nobody here that's going to roll their eyes to that. There's, I would say, 30% minimum of the people that are listening to the sound of my voice have that story. Maybe a little bit more. And it may not be, I've said a million times, it may sound dumb as hell, but I didn't know I was going to get sick when I stopped taking them. And I didn't grow up down south. But I didn't know. I really didn't. To me, heroin was junk, right? That's what junkies did. I was taking pills. One thing had nothing to do with the other. And here's how much I didn't know. This is no joke. I would get on a runner and I would do dope for pills. I would get on it and I might be on it for 3 or 4 months, right through most of ski season. And then the season would end and I'd stop taking them. And I'd get sick as hell for 6-8 days and talk about it for 4 months after that. Oh my God, you wouldn't believe how sick I got at the end of the season. I thought I was going to die. But I didn't know that help was on the other side of the door for $30. So I just did it. You don't know any better. But once you know that you can make that go away, everything changes. It is no longer you're sick. It's you're sick. Right? You dope sick. Now you're going to get up and you're going to make it happen. You're going to go out there and make that stop. But no one's going to roll their eyes at that, Jonesy. I promise you that's a story that does not need any convincing, bro. Believe that. Been there and done that. Limit naps. I know I'm going to make friends with this. This is why this one is at the end. Limit naps. And my brother Johnny will tell you, Johnny doesn't nap, period. Right? For this reason. He says if he naps, it messes his sleep up. I love naps. But the truth of the matter is I don't sleep well on nights that I nap. I don't sleep as well. I don't. But you get this mindset where you say, wow, that's just nasty. Really is that one.
Nobody recognized your face in that thumbnail.
Nothing. I'm not surprised by that. So don't grab 3 naps during the day. Right? Just don't do it. I don't. You saw Johnny. Nobody saw me. I was in Johnny's thumbnail yesterday. How's that? Oh, you Chase the Heat fans. My picture was in the thumbnail. Nobody even mentioned it.
Where's Waldo?
Right. Where's Tommy? We were going to do a Where's Waldo section, but you guys haven't even caught one of them yet, which is taking a lot of the fun out of this. I'm just going to be honest with you. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. I love naps too, but I get up so early I need to nap just to make it to 7 p.m. Yeah, I get up at 4 a.m. and I'm not up late anymore. It's just not who I am. I get up at about 4 a.m. and by 9, I am definitely in bed, and very often by 8, to be really honest with you.
Come on.
See, Tim says he saw me, but we really have no proof of that. He might be doing that. Yeah, I saw you. You know what I mean? I'm not wanting to doubt you, Tim. I'm just saying. I'm doubting you. When I went to ski school, I slept so well. My instructor, Dave Marshak, would wear something. Wear us out on the slopes. I'm noticing the older I get, I'm actually waking up at times I used to go to sleep after partying way too much. That's a great damn comment. If you knew how many times I've said to people, normally when I saw 5 a.m., I was coming in from the night before. You know, this is definitely a new thing. Thank you, Nancy. That's a kind thing to say. I appreciate that. It was an honor to be out there with him. It really was. Zelda, have a good day. And then finally, people, are you ready? Be mindful of what you consume. Do you know that dark chocolate, it's got more caffeine in it than coffee? You know, I'm a dark chocolate freak. I eat so much dark chocolate, it's crazy. But I didn't know this until yesterday or the day before, where someone said, you know, you eat that anywhere near bedtime, you're screwed. You're not going to get to sleep at all. And I thought, what? Well, that doesn't make any sense. But I guess it does, right? It's there's a ton of caffeine in it. Start being cognizant of what you put in your body before you go to bed. Well, then all the more reason, Nancy. I'm a huge fan. It's really, really good stuff. You eat it before bed, Emma, you're not going to sleep well if you eat dark chocolate before bed. But I didn't know any better either. I just found this out. I'm not exaggerating. If it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before. It was yesterday, according to Johnny Scoville. And he took less shots to the head than I did. So occasionally, yeah, probably not many less.
10 diagnosed from a doctor concussion.
Yeah, I got you. I got you beat. But you're in the running. But that just means that between the two of us, you realize how bad we are. 12 milligrams per ounce, according to Susie Q. Do you know how awesome that is? It's like I have an entire Google team. I don't have to do anything. I just talk and then see how quickly she did that. Thank you so much, Susie Q. I appreciate that. Eat ice cream before ice cream. And if you don't have that, eat turkey. Honestly, I talked earlier about I said if I had to put weight on, I would eat right before I went to sleep, right? Do you know how people in Hollywood put weight on, Johnny? Seriously, this is pretty much the gold standard for how people in Hollywood put on weight. What they do is they get a gallon of milk, right? And they let it heat until it's liquid. And they drink it like milk.
Gallon of milk?
Ice cream rather. And they drink it like milk, and they do a gallon a day. If you do a gallon of milk that you drink daily, it only take you about a month and a half to put on about 50 pounds. So it gives you an idea of, and the closer you do it to bedtime, the more it's going to just absolutely stay on you. Good idea. Do not drink ultra cold water before you go to bed. Personally, I do not drink anything before I go to bed because I am a old man, which means that if I do, I will be up 6 times during the night to get rid of it.
Jeremy Shelton, candy corn, ice cream. Thoughts?
I throw candy corn and ice cream on a regular basis. I also throw it in peanut butter and a bunch of other things. Normal stuff. Peanut butter, ice cream, salad, normal. All right. I am going to be back, people. Not sure when. I do know I will be back at 5, though. But I'm probably going to be doing a little something during the day. Hold on a second. Benadryl and caffeine are the strongest drugs in my life now. Well, and Suboxone. You know what, Jonesy? I would have said the same thing if it were me, because those two have far more of an effect on my life as far as feeling anything than Suboxone does. I don't get your buzz off of Suboxone. I don't even know that I took it. But it does a great job to keep you from craving, doesn't it? Hell of a drug. Hell of a drug. Got to go to a doctor to see those things. You know what that tells you, right? Don't worry about going to a doctor. Be your best advocate and start asking for help. It'll change your life. Yes, Monk. Monk. I know all about that milk. And if you've never seen me toss 1 gallon of milk out in say 3 seconds, a lot closer to a gallon than yours.
Less than a gallon. It's really here.
Meat stick. Oh, yeah, idiot. Sorry. Chugs pure caffeine. Well, that's not good. All right, ready? Yeah, that's the kind of guy he is. Yeah, you could see that, actually. All right, everybody. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and that is a cat in a basket. Oh, it is. All right, everybody. Have a great day.
People think you for the show.
You hear that? I got that. You got one more there for me? No, she's not in the mood. All right, everybody. Have a great day.